I spent more than 10 years as a professional athlete and ran a fair few 5Ks, including the parkrun world record of 13:48 and my own personal best of 13:20. So hopefully I've got some tips that are going to be useful for you. They helped me to take more than 2 minutes over my personal best during my career, and they're useful to anybody no matter what time you're looking for. So let's head out for a run and go through my top 5 tips for success.
So give this video a thumbs up if you thought I'd do straight into my 5K already, because that's a mistake that loads of people make, is you don't do a proper warm-up. So if you're going to try and ask your body to run the fastest it's ever run before because you're running a 5K PB, then you need to be ready to go. You need to be ready to run at the speed that you're going to go at, which means doing a proper warm-up. And we're going to talk about something called VO2 kinetics, which sounds scientific and boring, but I'm going to try my best not to make it boring. So let's get stuck in with the warm-up. Okay, so 3 quick exercises. The first of these is dynamic leg swings. So I'm going to keep my legs relatively straight, and I'm essentially going to be warming up my glutes, hamstrings and hips. I don't have amazing hamstring range, so I can't actually swing it very high, but looking to do 12 or so on each leg, starting with small movements and then making it bigger, but not going so far that you actually hurt your back a little bit, and then swap legs. Next, into lateral lunges, so take a step to the side and then sit back and push back up. Essentially going to stretch the inside of this leg, but also work your glutes, which you'll need to run a fast 5K. Aiming to do roughly 8 each side, and then change sides. So next up, we're going to do A-skips. I'm going to start by bouncing on my toes, and then we're going into a high knee position. So the perfect running form, opposite arm, opposite leg, toes pulled to shins, using your glutes and your hamstrings to pull your legs back underneath your body for a nice foot contact. And we just bounce for about 20 meters doing this, and then we're done. Okay, exercise is done. If you want any more ideas for stuff, check out this video from Manny where he'll take you through a whole bunch of different ones for your warm-up. But the warm-up's not over. I've started what for me will be about a 10-minute jog, which I'd recommend that you definitely do a jog as well as the exercises. And then I'm going to follow that up with some race-pace strides. But not only that, I mentioned VO2 kinetics earlier, and essentially what that is your body's operating capacity, so how quickly you can get up to top speed physiologically. And there's some really good science behind taking on 2 30-second efforts at a really hard pace. You won't want to do it, but the science is really strong. So here's my first one. Okay, so now I've started my 5K, and yes, today I'm not going all out because I've got to speak to you and I can't do 2 things at the same time. Now, there's something else I should have done before starting my watch, and actually that's working out what race pace I should be running at. Now, there's nothing worse than the idea of going off too fast, hitting a wall and not being able to maintain that pace. But actually, often I think a bigger problem is that people aren't able to go to their absolute max and push hard enough because they don't know where their red line is. So that's something you need to experiment with and ultimately find out in training. So how do you work out your race pace? Because if you've got a big training block ahead of you, you want to know that all of your intervals and particular parts of your training are going to be done at the right pace. You could start off with a predictor workout either at the beginning of your training or maybe partway through to gauge your progress and see how realistic it is. In fact, check out this video where Sarah and Alice do exactly that to get an idea of what it looks and feels like. But then basically what you should do is start with your current 5K PB. Look at how long you're giving yourself in order to achieve your new time and pick something realistic. So if you run 27 minutes, you're not going to break 20 minutes within 10 weeks, but you could break 26. And then try out that race pace in your training sessions in order to then adjust it based on what feels sensible. Once you've worked out your race pace, then it's tempting to do every single run at that pace, but please don't. That will be a disaster, because ultimately to run the best possible 5K you can, you need to train above and below that race pace that you're targeting to give you a good feel for it and to improve your overall fitness. And you also need to run longer than 5K in your longest run of the week. Now I'm about to talk you through an entire week of training to see how you could break it down. But before I do, leave me a comment to let me know what your favorite kind of run is that you do each week and why. I'd love to find out. This has 4 runs a week, but we also have a 3-day or a 5 or 6 day a week version, which I'll explain in a second. So this is week 4 of the plan, and our week runs from Sunday to Saturday, starting off with a Sunday long run of 60 minutes. This is banking a run that's longer than 5K, because if you're running further, then a 5K distance should start to feel more manageable and easier to run. Monday's a rest day, followed by Tuesday, which is an easy to steady 8-kilometre run, followed by 8 lots of 100-metre strides. Strides are awesome, but I'm going to come on to why later on. Wednesday is where speed comes in, and this is the session of the week where you'll either be practicing race pace or potentially running faster. This session is 5 lots of 1K at race pace with 2 minutes recovery in between each repetition. It's early on in the plan, so it should feel hard, but it shouldn't feel impossible that sometime in the future you can run the whole distance without those recoveries. Then Thursday is a rest day, followed by a threshold run on Friday, running 8K total with 1.5k at the start at an easy pace, followed by 5k at marathon pace, and then another 1.5k to finish at an easy pace. This pace is slower than 5k pace to keep the legs ticking over and building up your mileage during the week. And then Saturday's another rest. All of these runs work together to make your 5k faster. If you want to only do 3 days a week, then here's the 3-day version. Or if you're looking for more than 4 runs a week, here's the 5 or 6 day equivalent. Check the link in the video description if you want to download the full plans. Okay, so let's get this out of the way. There's no magic piece of kit that's going to save you 5 minutes off your 5k time, but actually there are a few things that can make you faster, most notably carbon plated racing shoes. Now, they're an investment, they cost a lot of money, but they will categorically make you faster. So they help you to run faster, but also they help you to recover from your harder sessions. I definitely wouldn't be recommending they're the only pair of shoes that you own, but if you have the luxury to invest in a pair alongside a pair of everyday trainers, then it's definitely worth it. Now, if carbon plated racing shoes aren't for you, then you should focus on getting a pair that support you and fit you well. But if you are looking for a pair and what to look out for, then ultimately the lighter the shoes they are, the more responsive they are, the faster you're going to run. If you're not sure where to start, then go to your local running store, or, wow, I'm running up a hill now, really hard to deliver this, or check out the Running Channel's video of the best running shoes. Now, do you remember I mentioned strides earlier? Well, these are my secret weapon. You'll see them a lot in our training plans in groups of 4 or 8 lots of 100 meters, usually at the end of one of your runs. Now, to run strides, you just run at a 9 out of 10 effort, so a pretty hard effort, but not absolute max, for around 100 meters. And you focus on really good running form, so staying nice and tall, good knee and arm drive, foot contact under your body. And the reason they're so good is they help you to focus and ultimately learn to have good running form at the end of a hard effort. So definitely look to invest in some strides as some stealth speed work. Okay, strides done. Let me know in the comments if you're going to try them out on your next run. I promise you that you'll make a difference. But now what you need to do is watch this video next, which is going to talk you through some more advanced drills that I guarantee will help you with your running.